You know, Carla piped up, Carrie met her Paul at Kawanian's spaghetti supper last fall. You really should socialize more, Laine. I really should, she agreed with a winning smile. If I want to hook up with a balding divorced CPA with a sinus condition, she thought. I know Carrie's going to love whatever you choose, but maybe an engagement gift from her aunts should be something more personal than the candlesticks. They're lovely, but the dresser set's so feminine. She picked up the silver-backed brush from the set they were considering. I imagine another bride used this on her wedding night. More personal, Darla began. More, girly, yes, we could get the candlesticks for a wedding gift, but maybe we should look at the jewelry before we buy the dresser set. Something with pearls, something old she could wear on her wedding day. Put the candlesticks and the dresser set aside, honey. We'll take a look at the jewelry before we decide anything. The conversation bounced like a tennis ball, served and volleyed out of two identical coral-slicked mouths. Laine congratulated herself on her skill and focus as she was able to keep up with who said what. Good idea. Laine lifted the gorgeous old Dresden candlesticks. No one could say the twins didn't have taste or were shy of heating up their plastic. She started to carry them to the counter when the little man crossed her path. She was eye to eye with him, and his were a pale, washed-out blue, reddened by lack of sleep or alcohol or allergies. Laine decided on lost sleep, as they were also dogged by heavy bags of fatigue. His hair was a grizzled mop of gray, gone mad with the rain. He wore a pricey Burberry topcoat and carried a $3 umbrella. She assumed he'd shaved hurriedly that morning, as he'd missed a patch of stubbly gray along his jaw. Laine. He said her name with a kind of urgency and intimacy that had her smile turning to polite confusion. Yes? I'm sorry, do I know you? You don't remember me. His body seemed to droop. It's been a long time, but I thought... Miss! The woman on her way to D.C. called out. Do you ship? Yes, we do. She could hear the twins going through one of their shorthand debates over earrings and brooches, and sensed an impulse buy from the D.C. couple. And the little man stared at her with a hopeful intimacy that had her skin chilling. I'm sorry, I'm a little swamped this morning. She sidestepped to the counter to set down the candlesticks. Intimacy, she reminded herself, was part of the rhythm of small towns. The man had probably been in before, and she just couldn't place him. Is there something specific I can help you with, or would you like to browse a while? I need your help. There isn't much time. He drew out a card, pressed it into her hand. Call me at that number, as soon as you can. Mr. She glanced down at the card, read his name. Peterson. I don't understand. Are you looking to sell something? No. His laugh bounced toward hysterical, and had Laine grateful for the customers crowded into the store. Not anymore. I'll explain everything, but not now. He looked around the shop. Not here. I shouldn't have come here. Call the number. He clamped a hand over hers in a way that had Laine fighting an instinct to jerk free. Promise. He smelled of rain and soap and... brute, she realized. And the aftershave had some flicker of memory trying to light in her brain. Then his fingers tightened on hers. Promise, he repeated in a harsh whisper. And she saw only an odd man in a wet coat. Of course. She watched him go to the door, open the cheap umbrella, and let out a sigh of relief when he scurried out into the rain. Weird, was her only thought, but she studied the card for a moment. His name was printed, Jasper R. Peterson, but the phone number was handwritten beneath, and underscored twice, she noted. Pushing the card into her pocket, she started over to give the traveling couple a friendly nudge when the sound of screeching brakes on wet pavement and shocked screams had her spinning around. There was a hideous noise, a hollow thud she'd never forget. Just as she'd never forget the sight of the strange little man in his fashionable coat slamming against her display window. She bolted out the door.